Hello there, my name is KingBadgerX, or King for short, and before you ask, I do not have a case of Anglophobia. Then again, saying that, Admiral King is probably glaring at me right now. But enough about me. What is Kantai Collection? I mean, you clicked on the video, but you probably want to understand it more. It's a browser game that you, the player, is an admiral of a naval base or naval district to liberate the seas from the evil abyssals with your shipgirls or Kazumus, mainly of those of the Imperial Japanese Navy, or the IJN, as I will be referring it throughout this video. Now, something like Kantai Collection would have been well known to a lot of people. I mean, it's very out there as an idea, but it's region-locked to Japan, and as such, it didn't get very much exposure over here. And it's a very small community. And I'll be setting up the game using Orarami's guide to the game, which he did a terrific job doing it. Please go support him, go give him some support. And finally, a special mention to two Australian YouTubers, Martin Pants and Anthropomorphic. I'll be using a bit of their style, but I'll be taking a spin on it, as I enjoy both their content. But I want to try it with my own flavor on this. With that being said, let's get into the game. So we set up a DMD account, which is the site that hosts Kantai Collection. It has a huge catalog of games, and that you can play on that site. But after booting into the game and selecting one of the servers, each of these servers are named after naval bases that the Japanese used in World War II. I ended up with the Peleliu anchorage, or the Palau anchorage. Now with selecting this server, we have to pick our first ship. We'll pick out of the 5 destroyers you can choose. I ended up picking Fubuki, primarily because she was the protagonist in the first season of the anime. So with that, we'll get to our homepage. With the homepage, or your office, the game first things first wants you to build a new ship girl. You can do this by using the 4 materials. These are fuel, ammo, bauxite, steel, to build ship girls. Now, you get to figure out which one you get through the wondrous fun known as gacha. At least this time my wallet isn't crying in a corner. But first things first, let's get to work on that ship. As stated, it took about 9 minutes to build this ship, or a little less than that, and she'll end up being Shigeruki, the sister ship of Fubuki. Wait, that's an actual photograph. Can we get the, what are they called again? Kazumus, there we go. On the screen? Ah, there we go. Adding Shigeruki to our fleet is pretty simple. Remember those buttons on my office page? We click the top one, and that opens up to a new page. Opening this up, we're able to just drag and drop her into our fleet. With Shigeruki added to our fleet, you probably wonder what type of ships there are in the game. So, to those who play World of Warships, this will be pretty familiar. You have destroyers, cruisers, battleships, aircraft carriers, and submarines. The latter of 2 lead to much loathing from the community. Ultimately, there's also 2 new ships besides those 2 that are in Kantai Collection. We have auxiliary ships, so think fleet oilers, think like transport ships, typically ships that are more of a support role. Then you have coastal defense ships, which in Japanese terminology refers to mostly like frigates and DDEs to the United States at this point, which would be destroyer escorts. Now, this mainly focuses on a blue water navy, so that would explain why there's no torpedo boats. Torpedo boats? No. How are you alive? Torpedo boat! Torpedo boat. You made a deal with the Abyssals. Why? Torpedo boat. You want Rozovensky to die and solace knowing that you were still alive? Torpedo boat. Great. What are you doing here? Torpedo boat. So you ignore my question, you're asking which way is the North Sea. Yeah, I'm not letting you go to the North Sea, because you'll start more international incidents than any other ship imaginable. Torpedo boat. Yeah, I'm not willing to put my own career at risk for you having a little fun in the North Sea and probably getting me court-martialed. Torpedo boat. Why are you asking where HMS Rodney is? Torpedo boat. No, just no. Because HMS Rodney has torpedoes, she is not a torpedo boat. Torpedo boat. And I'm well aware that the Japanese put torpedoes on their cruisers. That does not mean they're torpedo boats. Torpedo boat. No, just no. Submarines, just because they have torpedoes, are not underwater torpedo boats. You're gonna give me a frickin' brain hemorrhage, and you know what? They're gonna say it wasn't service related. Torpedo about. You know what? I'm not gonna even. I'm just done. Stay right there. I'll be back in a minute. I got a gift for you. If you please would take this and now leave me alone. It's a torpedo. Torpedo! Torpedo. How the hell am I supposed to write this? The Kamchatka somehow back from the dead and made a deal with the Abyssals. God's sake. What the hell am I supposed to do? It's a good thing the torpedo I gave him was a Mark 14. I'm just hoping the magnetic detonator gets to a point where it starts dealing with new magnetic pulses and it blows up on him. I mean, that will probably be wonderful for everybody involved. Oh, hey Fubuki. Don't mind me, I'm just stressing over something. Did you get the assignment I tasked you done with? You did? The fuel and ammo are ready? Okay, let's deal with that small little abyssal fleet that's been a real nuisance to some elements off the coast of Japan recently. With Fubuki completing the necessary provisions for our fleet to sortie, we'll get right into the meat and potatoes of this game. You'll notice the 3 different types of sortie on the page that you're seeing right now, those being sortie, exercise, and expedition. Now exercises are PvP, and expeditions are something we'll cover at a later date, as we need 2 fleets to do this. As of this time, we only have 1 fleet. So, we'll be going with sortie, which is the single player content of the game. Now each mission has an area of operations, which can be demonstrated as you can see as Area 1, Mission 1. Almost all missions are named after corresponding operations by the Japanese Imperial Navy, or IJN, or they're renamed in such a way that they are not even subtle at what they're named after. You're probably wondering, how do you get from one area to another? Now you need to complete 4 missions in an area to get to the next area. And when you get to the next area, well, you have to start the cycle again, starting with the first mission, and the cycle repeats again, and again, till you get to the end of the game. But with that being said, let's get into the first mission of the game. Alright, how does this work? Battle start. Battle start. Alright. When am I gonna get capital ship production, so... So yeah, that would be my first battle in Kana Collection. Yeah, that was my live reaction. I was very talkative, as you could see. If you can't tell, I'm being sarcastic. So for here on out, we're going to be doing a lot of narration. So, with that done, we're going to click the proceed button. With this, we get to go back to the mission map that we saw earlier, and we get to see the Wheel of Unknown Fate. With this, it spins us to go in a random area, and with this, we end up going to the space that's red, which is the boss space. Yay! And with that, the boss battle begins. We're up against 4 abyssal ships for our 2 destroyers, and with this, the shelling phase begins, where we use our 12.7 centimeter inch deck guns against 5-inch deck guns. That's just the same thing. I don't know why we're using centimeters, even knowing that 5 inch is the same deck gun. Okay. And with that, torpedoes begin, and we're able to sink 1 enemy abyssal ship for Shigeruki, taking medium damage, yet she's at a 4 out of 15 health, which makes no sense, but okay. I can see it. And with this decision, we decide not to pursue, for a multitude of reasons, but one, taking a night battle with a damaged destroyer isn't a good look, plus we're pretty early on in the game. I don't want to risk that ship. And with this, we win a tactical victory. Or we get a B rank, which means we get to move on to the next mission area. With completing this mission, we're able to get rewards. One of these rewards is that our fleet, more specifically Fubuki, as you can see, leveled up to level 2. Shigeruki is almost there too. And due to us doing pretty well, due to our rank, we're able to get a new destroyer added to our fleet. Wataba. I cannot pronounce her name for the life of me, so Wapakaba. I pronounce it weird. And with that, we're able to unlock the new map as stated previously. Shigeruki being damaged in her last fleet action, we're going to have to put her in the dry docks for repairs. And just like any real dry dock, it's going to take time. It's going to take resources to repair that ship. If you don't know what a dry dock is, which I assume you probably do, but for those who don't, because you're watching a video about Kanon Collection, I assume you have some understanding of naval history. Dry docks are a piece of naval infrastructure they use to refit, maintain, or do repairs on ships. I'm going to show a picture right here of the Saint Nazaire dock. This was blown up by the British, and it was a dry dock in France. Covering Operation Chariot is not something I'm going to discuss, as there are far better YouTubers and far better information on this topic. I'm not going to leak any down below, but there are terrific documentaries and segments discussing this, specifically around the story of the Tirpitz. Now, we also have to add Wapataba to our fleet, which we already showed how to do that beforehand, and with this we also have to refuel and rearm our fleet, which we put new ammo and new fuel in our fleet, which is the reason why we have those two resources, which is a nice little detail that we have to get our fleet ready for combat. With our Kazumi's recuperated, rested, and rearmed for combat, we can finally take to the second mission of the game, the Sanzin Island Sea Defense. And the Wheel of Fate sends us into conflict once more with an enemy Abyssal Squadron. Now these 3 enemy destroyers, and our own 3 destroyers, begin our conflict of dance. Now, Wapataba, who takes serious damage during the shelling phase, due to this, shows a feature of this game I absolutely loathe. It shows the ship girl in question's closed shreds indicating their damage, meaning, because of Wapataba's case, I have to censor her because I'll probably get demonetized, because she borderline looks nude. Now, due to the damage we're able to inflict on the enemy Abyssal fleet, we're able to sink 2 enemy Abyssal ships. Now due to this, I decided to take a calculated gamble. Now this gamble is a night engagement. So, we take Fubuki, and Fubuki's able to sink the last enemy Abyssal ship, and due to our stellar performance during the match, we're able to get a new ship added to our fleet. Now due to this, we end up unlocking the ship Mizuki. Now with Mizuki added to the fleet, and due to the damage Wapataba sustained, it's safe to assume we need to get the heck out of here and dodge. As such, the fleet retreats from the area and heads back to port. Now with our fleet back to port, I hear you do viewer asking, "Hey King, why did we do so bad in that segment of that mission?" Well, to put it bluntly, we had lower leveled Kasan than the Abyssal ships that we're fighting. Pretty simple, right? Now, for those who play Pokemon, this analogy will make way more sense. If you remember going to a gym, and you know that idea of fighting the gym trainer, or, I'm sorry, the gym leader, my bad, trainers too, where your Pokemon are lower leveled and it's usually a struggle. You know what? Scrap that idea. There's only one person that everybody can agree on from Pokemon where you literally just suffer. It's the Elite Four. You usually have to grind your Pokemon 10 or 15 levels, and then you have to do this, and then after grinding it, you probably are still under-leveled by comparison to the champion or are at odds with him. It's usually suffering. Now for us, this is basically our situation on this mission, except we have a smaller gap and it only gets worse from here on out. So we have to grind, so we can beat this new mission. Yay! So to get our mind on the grind set mindset, first things first, we're going to start working on a new ship girl and getting her built. And then we're going to try another run at the same mission because we need to get that mindset so then we can do the grind set. Now, because of this, we get to see formations for the first time. Now, formations are essentially, think about how your fleet is. You know how you have numbers of ship girls and ships in general? It's think about like the order of your fleet, or how it's described as seen in these pictures. You have stuff like line ahead, breast, double up. Now, these all have benefits, but also issues with their formations. Now, one formation is super effective against another's effective, and then one is not effective at all. In fact, you lose damage. Think about it in this way as a rock, paper, scissors kind of situation. Also, Pokemon refers this as the typing system. Now, you probably wonder how we did on this mission. Somehow we did even worse than last time. And when I say worse, I mean we actually failed the mission. We got a C, which means a tactical defeat. After returning to port and putting our ships into dry dock for repairs, you're probably wondering, I mentioned a new Kazumi we started working on. This must be a brand new ship to reinvigorate the fleet. No, it's another Mizuki. Why? Why do I need another Mizuki? Gotcha gods, why? Truly, this game loves me. Wonderful. Just wonderful. So after the royal ass-kicking we received in Mission 2, it's safe to assume going there isn't a good idea for grinding. So I decided that going back to the previous mission, Mission 1, to continue grinding our fleet up is safer for our fleet as it's calculated aggression, not fire hose aggression. So when we start this grinding, we end up getting a brand new destroyer added to our fleet, Fumizuki. With Fumizuki added to our fleet, I think, okay, with a brand new ship, I might as well try building a brand new ship. And if it's another Mizuki, I'm validly going to crash out, because I absolutely hate gacha games. We actually end up getting something different. We end up getting Naka. Now, Naka is our first light cruiser, which I think is really cool. She's also a self-proclaimed pop idol. I don't know how to feel about that, but as long as she is not too annoying, I think I'll handle it. Now, with the self-proclaimed pop idol joining our fleet, we now have a full fleet, which is really great. That means we now have 6 ships. Now, after a bit of mission grinding, because seeing as Naka is only level 1, which, yeah, that's going to take a bit of grinding, so she's at the level that we can use for Mission 2, I build 2 new ships, this being the Osho and the Kitakazu. Now, with both of these ships joining our fleet, they decide to become our expedition fleet, but that's something I'll leave till next time, seeing as it's the end of the video. So, yeah, I'm going to end it off here. So please like, comment, subscribe. Please help me against the YouTube algorithm, because I think a video about anthropomorphic ship girls aren't going to do very well in the system. But with that, yeah, so please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.